guys, my name is Dennis and I am a real estate agent in Dubai. Today in this video we will compare with you two different kind of rents, a long-term rent and a short-term rent. It will be a quick video, and later on, if you want, I will go more into the details with each type of rents. So from 2015, the tourism department allowed landlords, homeowners to rent their property as a holiday home. So they can rent their units to the tourists. Before, it wasn't, well, it was possible, but it was illegal, let's put it this way. So right now, the landlord has an option to rent the property on the long term or on a short term. And let me quickly explain you what is the difference between these two options. So maybe you will change your plans, or maybe you will adjust them somehow. So let's start with the long-term rent. The main advantage of the long-term rent is that you know exactly how much money you will get. Another thing is that with the long-term rent, most probably you will get some money in advance. So if you rented your property for 2 checks, right now it's difficult to get rent in 1 check, but still some companies are paying. So you can get some money in advance for the 3 months, for 6 months, or maybe even for 1 year. And another thing is that you know exactly who is staying in your apartment. It's not so important, don't find it as an important point, but for some people, like they prefer to know who is using their unit. What are some disadvantages of the long-term rent? The main disadvantage is that it's quite difficult to evict your tenant. So in case if you want to use the property yourself, or in case if you want to sell it, and like as we know, it's easier to sell the property if it's vacant, you might face some challenges over here. First of all, if you want to use it yourself, or if you want to sell it, you need to give a 12 months notice to your tenant. And tenant, in case if you have any kind of viewings, you need to show it to somebody. Tenant, like, he has a chance to tell you, I'm sorry, bring your client after I leave the property. So he doesn't have to show you his unit while he's renting the property to the clients. So over here you might have some challenges. This is what we have with the long-term rent. Let's move on to the short-term rent. So the main advantage of the short-term rent is that over there you will get potentially more money than with the long-term rent. Why I'm saying potentially? The thing is that it all depends on the unit and on the location as well. And what I want to mention about the location, that it doesn't always have to be next to the sea or in the downtown, or in, like, let's put it in Dubai Marina, because quite often when people are coming here to find a job, they have to spend here 1 month, maybe 2 months, who knows, and during this time they need to find a place where they will live, and it's quite expensive for them to stay in the hotel, so they might prefer to take an apartment somewhere like in another part of Dubai. So if we're talking about location, it doesn't always have to be next to the sea. So even if the landlord owns the property in the JVC, in the sports city, in some other areas, he can consider an option of the short term. And yes, over there you have quite good potential to get more money compared to the long term. Another benefit of the short-term rent is that you can get an access to the apartment within like maximum 1 month, because once the agreement expires, you can start using the apartment, and you can use it for your own purpose, or you can sell the property. Ideal scenario that some lenders use is, for example, they have a property that they want to sell, okay, but the market still is not there, it didn't reach their price, and while they are waiting for their buyer, they are renting their unit on a short term. So it's not like there is an empty unit which is on the market and that is waiting for the buyer, but there is a unit that generates some income for the owner, and in case if the buyer comes, the seller can sell his unit without a tenant, an empty one. Okay, and what are some disadvantages about the short term? One of the main one is that it's not that predictable compared to the long term. If you're renting your property to the tourists, there are obviously some seasons, so sometimes it will be fully occupied and sometimes it can be vacant. And all this can bring some uncertainty to you. Another disadvantage is that If you're renting it, for example, to the tourists again, you should check always the apartment, what are the condition of the apartment, and if it's ready for the new person to come in. Obviously, this problem can be solved if you will approach the property management company, like a holiday home company, and they will take care of the unit, so you will not have to worry about all this. Obviously, you will have to pay them money for this job, but as usually it's a good decision to go ahead with the property management company, because like they will do the listings for you, they will do the marketing, they will list your property on Property Finder, on Booking.com, and they will meet guests, and they will as well check if everything is okay, and they will prepare the property for the next tenant to come. So it's quite difficult in some cases to choose what is better, to go for the long term or to go for the short term. Obviously, there are some areas that are more attractive for the short term options. And once again, it's not always the units that are next to the sea. Still, some areas like Sport City, some JVC can find as well tenants for the short-term option. Let me know in the comments below what kind of rent do you prefer yourself and why. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.